peace and harmony. I have a dream.
My name is Kathy B, and my company is Touching Lives Multimedia. And what I do, I have a project called Do the Dream, where I believe that your goals, your gifts, your dreams, you can achieve anything you want to achieve. I've done many, many things in my life. I've helped quite a few people. And I use the dream format as an system where the D stands for you got to decide what you want. The R is you've got to renew the things that you already do. So you've got to be able to change, make some changes. The E is for examine yourself and then get excited about what you do. A, amplify. I'm a good amplifier with the system that I have and TV shows and other ways to get out there to the public who you are and what you do. And then M, you got to monetize it. You got to be able to get paid back. Because, we can do all those other stuff, but if we don't get paid, we don't get to do our dream. So that's the things that I work on and work with people. And I'm very successful at these things. I have quite a few clients and in all kind of fields because I love to do that. So with that, my quote, I always like for someone to start with a quote. And I'm in a mastermind group where I have a quote each week that we come up with. I'm going to give you mine just real quick here. And my quote is, should have had it ready. The quote of this week is, for me, success is like a hot air balloon. In order for you to rise, you must let go of what's weighing you down. And that was something that I came up with. So that's by Kathy B. So, Bonita, do you have a quote?
Yes. Laughter is an instant vacation by Milton Berle.
Love that. Woo. And Scott, do you have a quote?
Yeah. Get out of the shallow end and get into the deep end.
Love it. Do you know who that's by?
Who?
Is it by you?
No, it's by Bill Epperhart.
Okay, very good. Excellent. And since I did not get your bio, it didn't come in. I want you to let us know who you are and what you do, Bonita. Okay, and then we'll start.
My name is Bonita Joy Yoder, and I use my middle name, Joy, because that's part of the purpose of what I'm up to in the world, is to help spread joy. Having practiced law over 25 years and having authored a book, I now speak and MC. I edutain interspersed with ventriloquism for associations, events, video podcast, etc.
And today, what is the name of you're going to be talking about? Do you have a title?
How to use humor in business to engage future customers.
Excellent. And with that, we're your audience.
When I was a child, I was taught to be seen and not heard, especially as a girl. And I was a preacher's kid, a PK, and this message of being seen and not heard was further cemented by the times our family was invited after the Sunday sermon to a congregate's home for a nice home-cooked meal. And we'd be sitting there in a dining room eating, the meat and mashed potatoes and whatnot. And sometimes when my mother was talking, my father would poke her under the table, meaning she should stop talking. Well, that made me determined that I was going to be seen and heard, and I was not going to let anybody else silence me or put their words into my mouth. So you started putting words into our mouths instead. Oh, yes, indeed. I figured out that ventriloquism helped me be seen and heard, and humor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hey, I was talking to dummies anyway, so why not do it in the courtroom? Ah, and I went to law school and became a lawyer. A liar? Not a liar, a lawyer. Oh, what's the difference? The difference is I'm a member of the bar. The Flamingo Club? No, 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 not that. Now, Ruby, do you like my pigtails? Ruby, yes. I'm talking today. Can you just can you have a seat here and we'll chat later this afternoon? Okay, okay. Bye. I hope you like my pigtails. Oh. So today I'm talking about how to use humor to engage your future customers. And I say future because you don't have them yet. You are attracting them in. And I have three areas I'm going to talk about. First is some of the myths and benefits of humor. Second is how to embrace a humorous mindset. And then the third is the actual application of humor in online and offline situations, and sometimes it overlaps. So starting with the myths and benefits, one of the things I hear sometimes is, oh, I'm not funny. I don't have a funny bone in my body. Now, the speaker told me that. And there were several of us sitting around talking in a Zoom meeting. And she's describing how nobody in her family, everybody in her family is funny but her. She's the only person. And the way she was talking about it, we started chuckling because it was just funny and she didn't even know it. So you have a natural funny place in you. It's just claiming it and finding it. If you think you're not funny, that's a myth. You can be. It's a learned skill. Some have it more naturally, but it is a learned skill too. Also, the big myth about humor is, oh, if I use humor in my business, nobody will take me seriously. Quite the contrary, because you see, humor will help you stand out in your field and help you be seen and heard. I wish I had known that when I was a young lawyer, because I really squandered an opportunity. You see, when I got out of law school, there's just a handful of women lawyers in my town, and I thought, boy, it's going to be hard enough to be taken seriously anyway. I was only in my early 20s, you understand. And so I had the age, and I thought, oh, I'm a woman, and oh, if I'm known as a puppet lady, they'll never take me seriously. Well, I think they would have remembered me as the puppet lady lawyer. They would have been more inclined to remember me, and it would have helped me be more noticed. But I didn't have the knowledge, experience, the confidence then that I do now. And you can learn from my mistake. It's also unknown by like many people the huge benefits that humor can have. As I said, it helps you stand out, but research shows that people with a good sense of humor are more likely to get the job when multiple candidates are being interviewed. They're more likely to get the raise, and they're more attractive. So guess what? If you're dating, people of both genders tend to find a sense of humor attractive. And if you're already in a marriage or a partnership, a romantic partnership, you still want to be attractive, don't you? You want to maintain being attractive. So that has not a lot to do with business, talking about romance, but it's just an added bonus, and that's a big added bonus. The truth is that humor makes you more attractive in all areas of your life, whether it's business or personal. And another bonus, another benefit, your immune system. What? Well, we've all heard laughter is the best medicine. Seriously, when you laugh, it releases releases chemicals that help your immune system physiologically. And who in these days doesn't want a better immune system? So what have you got to lose? Yes, we all do. What have you got to lose? You've got a lot to gain. Just setting the stage there to address some of the myths and some of the benefits. Humor is a very serious business. It's so serious, in fact, that there's a graduate school, Stanford Graduate School of Business, offers a course for credit on humor in business. Did you know that? In fact, the professors of that course came out with a book earlier this year. Humor, seriously, why humor is a secret weapon in business and life. Just came out in February 2021. Now, I wouldn't have called it a weapon. I see it more as a tool, a very useful tool. But they have case studies in there about humor being used in business. So we talked about some of the myths of humor, the benefits of humor, and now, second part, how can you embrace a humorous mindset? Well, humor is all around you. Have you heard the phrase, truth is stranger than fiction? Well, there's a saying in the comedy world that comedy is stranger than anything you could make up. It's that same kind of thing. I mean, some of the funniest things are so funny after the fact sometimes that you would never have dreamed to make them up. And humor is all over in the world. I mean, do you have any children in your life? Do you work with children? Do you have children? Do you see children? Those in a certain generation remember Art Linkletter saying kids say the darndest things. Well, they say the funniest things. And if you have kids in your life, anywhere in your life, pay attention to the things they say. That's a huge source of humor. There's also things like comedies, and there's lots of YouTube videos with comedians that you can watch for free. I mean, you can immerse yourself in humor all over the place, in true life and on the internet. What I suggest is keeping a humor journal. If you're serious about bringing more humor into your business, you can keep a journal. And it's the idea of a gratitude journal. I'm sure you've heard of gratitude journal, where you write down 3 things every day or whatever. And I'm in a gratitude group where we email each other 3 things every day with no repeats from the prior days. Well, you could do the same thing with humor. You could keep a journal, keep track of 3 or more funny things every day. And what does that do? It does the same thing that the gratitude journal does. In gratitude, it rewires your brain to look for the gratitude in your life, things to be thankful for, even unconsciously, subconsciously. Hey, if you keep a humor journal, you retrain your brain to look for things that are funny. And in serious times that we've had lately, wow, wouldn't it be great to focus on the fun and funny instead of ain't it awful and serious? It helps you. It's kind of like looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. And another way, you can watch comedy movies, and you can pay attention in conversations when you're having conversations with people, you're just telling a story of something that happened that day, whether it's on Zoom or in person. And if you see people chuckling or laughing, like the woman who was saying she was totally serious and not funny, and if something about her tone of voice, people started chuckling. So you pay attention to how people respond to you, and you also pay attention to others who are telling stories and how people respond to them. You know, what makes people laugh and what is funny. Humor often involves a twist, a surprise ending, or something ironic, something unexpected. That's what usually brings in the fun and funny. And there's an art to humor and a science to humor. Now, the science, what I say, the science kind of refers to rules in comedy writing and that kind of thing. But you're not setting out to be a stand up comedian. I mean, if you are, there's comedy classes and workshops for that very thing. But you don't have to be a stand up comedian to use humor in your business. It's just training your brain to be, to find the funny bone in you, the humorous bone. And it's, yeah, there's so much. Being funny doesn't mean people are going to burst into laughter with a belly laugh. They could. And there's things like laughter yoga where people intentionally do that. And that's has great physiological effects. But it might just mean that people chuckle or giggle or even smile. Like when I bring up a puppet in a Zoom meeting in the box and it's unexpected, I see a lot of smiles in people if I'm in a group. And they might just smile inside, internally. But a smile is the shortest distance between two people, regardless of the language they speak, regardless of their politics, their religion. A smile is a way of connecting rather than dividing. So it's just recognizing and identifying the natural funny in life. Now, I've come to the third part of this presentation, which is how you can actually apply humor on some things. And you don't have to make a big spectacle of yourself. You're just wanting to do something that stands out a little bit. And it can be that you're um, doing something as simple as if you're in person and you have, when that happens again and we have registration desks, you can have funny little props for people to use to have fun with during the event or conference. And yes, I love, you could have a funny hat, glasses, props. Oh, by the way, I love toy stores. That's a great place to find some props. And props are one of the ways you can apply humor. Now, I have attended some virtual events where I got a box in the mail of different items. It's called a swag box, and hats off to you. And in one of these boxes, I got this fan. And on the other side, it said this. The speaker asked us when she was talking to raise our fan in which way we agreed or disagreed. That's one swag box. Another one, I got this, where when the speaker had an idea, we could raise, if she was telling us something, suggesting something to do, we could raise this, wave it in the air. That's cool. Or this, millions. If we thought it could be $1 million idea, we'd do this. And that's a way to have fun, bring engagement from your people. And these were prospects who then she offered a bigger program, a multi-thousand-dollar program too. But that's a way that particular prop can be used offline and online. Now, if you're a brick and mortar business and you have people come in, you could have something, of course, humorous on your wall inside the door. you could have a bulletin board and invite your employees to post little comic strips or comics. Remember those things in the newspapers? And put them up on the board. And whatever profession you're in, I mean, if you're a plumber or ventriloquist, believe me, there's comics available and little cartoons. Because during the pandemic, I got so many people messaging me little cartoons with a ventriloquist with their mask on. And if you work remote at home, you can still have a Facebook group where people could post funny things. And if you have virtual meetings, you might start it with a joke. I know I was in a Toastmasters club that has a joke master where somebody tells a joke. And it just helps set the tone for the meeting. It can help relax people, to have a culture of humor. I mean, if you think about companies that have a culture of humor, who comes to mind? Southwest Airlines is one. When the attendants will sometimes tell a joke or sing a silly song when they're giving that oxygen mask announcement. And research shows that people listen more closely, pay more attention to the announcement, just in case there's something that funny or silly that comes along. I mean, they're listening for it. Humor will help people engage and retain what you're saying. And if it's visual as well as audio, so much the better. And there's a story about Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx. She's a very successful businesswoman. But when she started out, she was having trouble getting appointments with retail buyers. What did she do? She went shoe shopping, of course, right? But she bought some shoes and then put just one shoe in each shoebox and mailed them off to different retail buyers, along with a note saying, I would like to get my, something like, I'd like to get my foot in the door and have a few minutes of your time. That's a way of using humor offline, and it worked. These people she'd been trying to get appointments with then talked to her, and now she has a very successful company. In fact, that's one of the examples mentioned in the book that I referenced earlier about humor seriously. You can have an outgoing voicemail on your message machine that has something funny in it, and it indicates that a sense of humor. And let's say you're a dentist. I have a tooth puppet that is eluding me at the moment, but if dentists are in the top, it's probably because the tooth was pulled out, right? But dentists are in the top two professions of depression, lawyers and dentists. Lawyers probably because it's adversarial. Dentists, well, who wants to go to the dentist, especially if you're a kid? A lot of kids are scared. But just imagine if you had a tooth puppet. Wouldn't that help get the child to feel less scared and get them engaged? The tooth and nothing but the tooth. I think that's the truth and nothing but the truth. I'll work for a dentist, not a lawyer. Oh, okay. But that's just another way of having a prop in a brick and mortar business. And now, if you are an online business, there's ways that you can use it too. Say you're speaking online. You can do things like holding up the props while you're speaking. We've already talked about, oh yes, and having the attendees do it. And if you're in the barbershop business, for example, you can joke about being a cut up and maybe a wild hair. Oh, a wild hair. That just reminded me. you could have a lot of fun at a barber shop with a wild hair. Oh, yeah. Got any carrots? So that's just a spontaneous example here that popped up. Yeah, I'm wild on the wild hair. All right. And there's ways to use puppets in commercials. And I don't know if you've heard, and not even puppets, just puppets. Obviously, you can use it. I think there's a Geico commercial with one. But there's a Squatty Potty commercial that is very humorous. And they spent, I believe, $500,000 from what I researched on their first commercial and had millions and millions of views. And now they've put out some other ones. And for copyright reasons, I'm not going to show them here. But also Dollar Shave, they did a commercial that also had over 25 million viewers, and they only spent $4,500 on theirs because the founder of the company had a comedy background and wrote his own script and did his own acting. But those commercials help show how company stands out. And obviously, if they didn't work, the company wouldn't keep making more of those. But you don't have to do anything that expensive. Now, if you were in the generation in the 50s, 60s, of Jimmy Nelson, a ventriloquist, he did a lot of commercials. Nestles, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate. And I see you nodding there. Those went on for years. I watched a few the other day, and he had a puppet named Furful. They go chocolate, whatever. And I viewed them recently. They were very simple commercials. They were just, the ventriloquist there with his puppet and a can of Nestle's Quick there with the product. So if you are doing any social media marketing and you want to stop the scroll, you could consider a puppet. I mean, think about when you take a walk in the park and you see a cute little puppy dog. What do? You want to stop? Yeah, you want to pat the pup. What's his name? What's her name? If you see a baby and a baby stroller, yeah, you want to stop. But just when I walk anywhere, I could be at a conference, a business conference, and carry a puppet, and people will stop, right? Yeah. And what's your name? Sammy Sells. Sammy Sells. Yeah. It's like, it's an attraction factor. They can't help but notice the cute puppy, the cute baby. I'm cute. I'm a living doll. Yeah. And if you do online video courses, what better way to get attention and help people remember than to use a puppet? Yeah. And just as an example, if you want to do a course or a talk or program of some kind on hecklers in your head, or how to, say you were creating a program on positive self-talk. Yeah. A ventriloquist does self-talk. Yes. But out in the world, our thoughts could be, you could have up to 80% of 80,000 thoughts a day be negative. And you want to teach people to train themselves to have more positive self-talk. What do? Well, you could have a little module in your course about the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and arithmetic? No. Recognize, resist, and replace. Counting on your fingers there. Yeah. How does that work? Well, okay, first you have to recognize the thought. But if you have a recurring thought that's looping around in your head all day, like I'm not good enough. Oh, that's a common one. A lot of people have that thought. Yeah. And you have to recognize it. And so you can stop and identify that it's there. Then what? Then you resist it. How do you do that? Well, if you're alone, you could actually say out loud, shut up. shut up, or stop it. Yeah. Or you could whisper it to yourself or just think it to yourself. Yeah, I could say, it's not your turn. Not your turn. It's never your turn. Yeah, never your turn. And then the third step would be to replace it. With what? Well, anything that would be a step in a more positive direction that would be more affirming for your brain. Affirming, that's a big word. Yeah. Like, tell me what to say. Well, if you're saying I'm not good enough, what's something else you could say? I'm great the way I am. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to go practice. Recognize, resist, and replace the 3 R's. Yes. Thank you, Sammy. So that's an example, a demonstration of how you could use something in a training course. And even if you're not a ventriloquist or a puppeteer, you could just have the puppet and a camera on the puppet with you holding it. Or you could hire a ventriloquist, of course. But when I was a teenager, a local advertising agency hired me on behalf of a bank to do ventriloquism. And I was so excited because I got paid $50. I was disappointed that I wasn't on it. I was like, what? I'm not going to be on it? Well, my little guy, Clyde, he was a star. So he was on the edge of the desk talking about interest rates, and I was crouched underneath. But that was a bank, which is a serious financial institution, and they hired a teenager to bring a puppet on for their local TV commercial. So if you're a plumber or anything, you could have a puppet. And it's a time of many talking heads, right? If you're going to have a talking head, if you're going to be on the internet with a talking head, have one that's different. Yeah, I'm not just your usual garden variety talking head. No. And that will attract attention. If you are in any way interested in humor in your business, I hope that this presentation has given you some ideas, some sparks of creativity to think of how you might incorporate into yours. And in conclusion, I want to say, if you could make a decision intentionally or consciously about whether to use humor in your business, that's the first step, to have the intention and create the vision. And then you'll start finding it everywhere. You know, you buy a certain kind of car and you see it on the highway everywhere. And once you decide you want to be fun and funny, or your business to be fun and funny, believe me, you will find it. I invite you right now to make a decision about, yes, I do want to use humor in my business. So something or nothing. And I'll just take a moment and yes, which way would you like to do that? Also, if you're already using some humor, you might decide to use more. How could you do that? Also, in your humor journal, if you keep one, you could write down ideas about ways for that. Now, remember when I started with the story of my being a child and being told that I was to be seen but not heard? That's not how you want your business. Of course, you want to be seen, yes, but you also want to be heard and stood out and noticed. You want to be noticed. And there's so much noise, so much traffic out there that it's easy to be silenced by all the other businesses being out there that get more attention or have a bigger marketing budget. A humor can be free or low cost and is a very effective way to have people notice you or to stop the scroll if you're on the internet, to pay more attention and to remember what you're saying. So I invite you to bring humor into your business as well as your life in order to be seen, attractive, liked, and heard.
Thank you. Wow. I'm unmuting. Let me unmute. Scott, unmute. Ask to unmute. Hey, Scott, if you will unmute. There you go. Excellent job.
That's excellent job. I like it.
Wow. I see that, Scott, you put over in the chat, what was the name of the book?
There it is. Oh, and McDonald's and Coca-Cola Bear. I didn't see that. Yes. Yes. And Smokey the Bear for forest fires for
Oh,
public
yeah.
service.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Ronald McDonald the Clown. They, yeah, for McDonald's. Yeah, thank you for those examples, Scott. And I had a friend who was a Ronald McDonald Clown, a magician friend, but they for some reason have stopped that now. But of course, a lot of things have been
good.
stopped.
With that, and you go by Joy, you said.
Well,
Joy.
Bonita Joy or Bonita, but I use joy in my name because
Yeah.
that's part of what I'm about, is bringing more joy to the world, and humor is one pathway.
Oh yeah.
And joy is, to me, a humor. It's a little different than happiness. Happiness is such a popular word in Western culture. We want happiness, a happiness factor, and often people say, "I'll be happy when I get married. I'll be happy when I find, when I get a different house, or when I move, or when I get this much money." But that's an external thing, and joy is an internal state of being. Your humor journal. No?
No, I like that. I like that humor journal. I like that. That was great because I
Yeah,
never.
I've never heard anybody talk about that. I just
No, that was great. I wrote
thought-
it down.
we do it on gratitude journal. Why not humor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? Maria, tell us again. Your big dream is to be on stage, right? More stage. You want to do your own show? What do you want to do? Big time. Big time. Star in your own movie?
No, just get back on stage. I think I'll be happy with that. Just get back up there and do that again.
Are you going to create any of your own? Host any of your own shows?
Yes, I'll be doing that locally. Yes, I'll be doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get back. I want to get back doing that.
Bye,
Have
guys.
a wonderful day tonight.
You
All
too.
right.
Keep sharpening those scissors, Scott.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Kathy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.